Hello, Data Fellows. Welcome to the second asynchronous session of the month of June. Today's session is focusing on data literacy. The learning objectives of today's session are that you will be able to define data literacy, understand why being data literate is important as an educator, and be prepared to increase the data literacy of yourself, your RSSP team, and others at your district. Our first section today focuses on defining data literacy and what it means for an educator to be data literate. Hanover Research defines data literacy as the ability to effectively access, interpret, use, and share data. It's a critical skill for K-12 educators, whether at the classroom, school, or district level. Making solid decisions requires going beyond perceptions and relying on evidence and facts. Data literacy is a key tool in helping build a culture around improvement, something we have been emphasizing throughout this program. Being data literate is a challenging skill set to build because it requires individuals to perform at a high level and master a set of foundational skills that haven't always been taught together. It's the ability to read data, which means understanding what data is and the aspects of the world it represents. In order to be data literate, you have to be verbally literate, numerically literate, and graphically literate. It's also the ability to work with data, including creating, acquiring, cleaning, and managing it. Data literacy is the ability to analyze data, which involves filtering, sorting, aggregating, comparing, and performing other analytic operations on it. Being data literate also means being able to go beyond analysis and effectively communicate about data with others. You need to be able to use data to support a larger narrative that is intended to communicate some message or story to a particular audience. Saying data literacy is just about the analysis and not about the communication is like saying that literacy is just about reading and not about writing. So what does being data literate look like as an educator? The Data Literacy Policy Framework outlines key competencies educators should have related to data literacy. They state that data is a part of daily routines and is used on an ongoing basis, rather than as a one-time event. They're also able to effectively use data to inform improved and tailored instruction and other practices for the purposes of improving student learning. They should also know and apply information with professionalism and integrity, always being conscious of the need to protect student privacy. An educator should be able to access multiple types of data, including assessment data and behavior data, and understand which data are appropriate to address the question at hand. Educators should be able to interpret, analyze, and synthesize data. They should be able to act on the data, apply the information to decision making, and should be able to share data points and the synthesized information with various stakeholders to generate further questions, inform decision-making, and provide a better understanding of student learning. Our second section will discuss why data literacy is important. So why is data literacy important? Several studies outline specific foundational skills that educators need in order to be considered data literate. This includes being able to recognize the role that assessment can play in supporting and not just measuring learning. Data can be found everywhere in districts, and knowing how to collect and use data is critical to assessing instructional quality, setting goals, and tracking metrics. 3 key reasons that data literacy is so important are outlined here. First, the sheer volume of data that schools and districts have access to and are expected to utilize continues to grow. Data is a part of everyone's work in a school or district, regardless of their role. In addition, as more work becomes automated, the tasks that individuals and districts do now more often require judgment and the ability to analyze and synthesize data. This task is improved by data literacy. The third reason being data literate is so important is that schools need decision makers to make better decisions faster. This requires educators to be data literate. Data can tell a vital story about K-12 challenges and how to solve them. All teachers, principals, and district leaders can use data effectively to set goals, measure changes, discover patterns, and track outcomes if they build their data literacy skills. As an educator, data literacy empowers you to recognize and quantify learner needs, build consensus around solutions, maximize effectiveness and enhance student outcomes, measure changes over time, and demonstrate results with community members and other stakeholders. Our last section today discusses how to build data literacy. The first step in building data literacy is to assess current data skills. Building data literacy starts with knowing existing skills. As a first step, have each member of your RSSP team complete the linked data literacy assessment. This is linked in the slide notes on this slide. The self-assessment will help team members identify their own strengths, gaps, and better understand the skills that are needed to work effectively with data. Team members should complete the self-assessment, which includes 16 multiple choice questions, by checking only one response option to each question. The assessment assesses 4 different data literacy behaviors: data location, data comprehension, data interpretation, and data use. Data location is the ability to find the right data to use. Data comprehension is the ability to figure out what the data says. Data interpretation is the ability to make meaning from data. And data use is the ability to apply the data and make meaning from data. Once the assessment is completed, individuals are able to review the results of their self-assessment right away. The results are organized by data literacy behavior and identify the current skill level the individual is at based off of the assessment. The assessment also includes recommended next steps the individual can take to build their own data literacy. The next steps link to existing synchronous and asynchronous sessions that the individual can complete to work to progress up the data literacy ladder. The second step to build data literacy is to define data literacy goals as an RSSP team. When drafting goals, it's important for the team to distinguish between data literacy and technical literacy. Technical literacy is the ability to use various technical tools, such as applications, software, and data systems. On the other hand, data literacy is the ability to collect, analyze, and use data to inform change. As an RSSP team, facilitate a discussion to determine the level of data proficiency each individual should have based on their role. The third step is to define success indicators for each goal. Without metrics to gauge success, it will be hard to know if any data literacy initiative is successful. In addition, having success metrics frames data literacy as not just a good skill to have, but something that really drives results. Again, as an RSSP team, work to identify a success indicator for each goal that defines what success looks like. The last step, step 4, is to lay out an appropriate learning plan. This can and should be done at both the individual and team level. At this step, the RSSP team should have an open discussion around their own data literacy strengths and gaps according to the self-assessment. Based on these current skill levels, individual and team learning paths should be established. A first step in doing this is by having individuals engage with and complete the recommended session or sessions based on their skill level in each data literacy behavior. Then, as a team, if there are common areas where skills are lower, Consider engaging in group learning, remembering that everyone learns differently. Throughout this process, it's important to foster a culture of continuous learning where curiosity is rewarded. Presented here are additional considerations to account for throughout the process as you work to build data literacy. First, it's important to use common language throughout your district when talking about data. This is also imperative as you work to build a data culture. Second, it's important to involve leaders in data literacy initiatives. If you're not going to be able to be data-driven and hold your team accountable from the top, it's not going to flow down. Leadership is key. Third, it's important to know that data literacy alone isn't enough. Measurable progress can be made in a year when working to build data literacy. But even though results can come relatively quickly, data literacy isn't the only part of becoming a data-driven district. It's just a part of the larger picture that also includes data maturity, that it is easy to access data, leaders demonstrate data skills, and data drives decision-making. That concludes the asynchronous session on data literacy. Presented here is what is coming up during the month of July. Our first July synchronous session will be held on Tuesday, July 11th from 1 to 2:30. Our first office hours will be on that Wednesday, July 12th from 1 to 2. Our second July synchronous session will be on Tuesday, July 25th from 1 to 2:30, and our community of practice will be that Wednesday, July 26th from 1 to 2 p.m. We'll also have our second office hours on Thursday, July 17th from 1 to 2 p.m. That concludes today's session. As always, please remember to complete the exit ticket, as this documents that you completed and participated in the asynchronous session, as well as provides us with important feedback to improve the sessions. Thank you.